Biodiversity International and Seattle, and the 2023 recipient, Scientist and South Asia Lead for Seed System and Product Management at the International Rice Research Institute, Dr. Swati Nayak.
Good morning, Dr. Nayak. It was an amazing experience, right? At the World Food Prize award ceremony, um, sitting with a lot of executives and delegates from different countries. More than that, what I actually felt was I feel so connected to everyone, despite coming from people from 76 countries. We are all talking the same language, right? That's what actually felt me very. I felt that vibration within me that I'm so connected to this world that I could relate to everyone, despite seeing different colors and different country flags and everything. But still, I could connect to everyone, and it was an exhilarating experience for me. Being in the center stage, what was your experience about that?
Thank you, Srinig, for having me. Certainly, I got a very prestigious award this year, Borlaug Field Award, and growing up, and that too hailing from a very small town in India, and gradually, trying to explore my career or what I want to do and etc. I could have only dreamed that I would be also one day at a center stage at a global level, talking to people about my work and getting the opportunity to showcase my work and get recognized that what I have been doing for farmers, especially smallholder farmers. The one thing is that I have read and been inspired by many great minds in agriculture or social transformation field. Often, in our ignorance or in our subconscious state, we get tremendously inspired or start dreaming, and sometimes till that up to a moment we don't even know that we have actually dreamt or visualized something. So I feel that I have taken lessons from their lives. I say life because what you become as a professional or what you become, as a scientist or academician or researcher or a doctor, engineer, any field, that also fuels from your personality, your personal life experience, your overall perspective to society, humankind, that everything reflect in the work what you do, and that is what I try to learn from many of these people in my life. Not just they are great work achievements, but what is the behind the story, screen story that led to this. That is very exciting to always learn. So I think by learning those things, by observing those aspects of many people, I'm here today. And I think that has shaped me more than what I read in books or or our academic excellence or what was taught to me. So I brought in those life learnings into whatever I did in my professional field as an agriculture research, and that probably infused a little bit extra passion and extra a little broader perspective to what I'm doing, to do something in a much better manner or a little bigger manner, to get noticed and be here today.
Good to hear that. The next question I have is on the journey that you had as a scientist so far, especially on the climate resilient rice varieties that you have been working on. What was your experience?
Yes. See, I have been working or dedicated my works towards the smallholder farmers in global south, be it India, Bangladesh, Nepal, or African countries. We know that the farm holding sites are very small, and the farmers are having very less risk bearing capacity or even investment capacity. So what we talk about, productivity, profit, and etc., for a smallholder farmers the world is very different. The lens in which the smallholder farmer looks at it and the risks every day he faces, that makes him or her more vulnerable. So in that context, when we develop or come out with various agriculture technology or solutions for them, the first thing is that we need to take into consideration that is it affordable for them, and whether they will be ready to take up immediately, and how scalable is it in that context, and then we'll talk about of course the continuous or sustained access to that technology and etc. So in this perspective, within the climate change dimension, we know that these are the farmers who are the most vulnerable to the risks of climate change, because already they are limited by resources, the capacity. At the same time, when an external threat in terms of climatic aberration comes into play, they are in a paramount distress. So in this context, we thought that what is that most climate responsive and resilient technology or solution we could bring to them, and then I felt like climate resilient seeds are the one of the most basic input and a solution for many smallholder farmers. And we know, if gone by science also, a good quality genetically pure seed has tremendous potential to add to the overall productive crop productivity or yield, irrespective of what other better management practices you apply or don't apply. So while they remain resource pure and they may not be able to apply many cost intensive management practices and etc., a good quality seed, I feel, is their entitlement, is their basic need which we must ensure and making sure that they're having. And hence what I try to do is that get the seeds of the climate resilient rice varieties to them, to their doorstep, to the community, and try to encourage them to evaluate, choose out of different options given to them, like what best suits to them as per their preferences, and then ensuring institutional mechanism to make sure that if are they getting benefits, if they are seeing value in that, they are able to have access in a sustainable manner, and those seeds are being able to be supplied through different institutional mechanism in the locality. So this is what I try to do, and I try to tell them that you could replace your older varieties which are not climate resilient with new climate resilient seeds, because that would give you a mechanism to cope with the risk that is associated due to stress situations.
Okay. Especially, I think Odisha is known for preserving the desi seeds and all that. Are you putting any efforts in enhancing the climate resiliency in those original varieties that we already have?
Um, uh, we actually, so far, my work in the land races, or what we say heirloom rice, has been around screening of different accessions, and and then preserving the quality seeds of that, even though not specifically in Odisha, but in many regions like say UP, Assam, and anywhere in different states have their different heirloom varieties, rice varieties, or traditional rice varieties, which have tremendous value in terms of premium grain quality, aroma, but also lot of traits like related to resilience, like climate resilience, and not much have been basically studied or showcased or positioned so far, and probably we need to emphasize a little more and channelize our research efforts to that, to really characterize those varieties, and not just characterize those varieties, but also take ahead those evidences to create enough awareness among different stakeholders. And one thing very tricky with these land races are that they are not in seed chain. Okay, so they have been grown by the community through age-old practices and etc. So a lot of accessions remain, and we need to screen, out of just hundreds of accession of a particular. Suppose I give example of kala namak, kala jeera. So they might have several accessions. So we need to really screen which is that most important one or two striking accession, which has the most prominent expression of those characteristics of the traits which we are talking about, be it climate resilience or be it aroma, be it grain quality and etc. Every accession will not have that level up competitive value for the farmers. We need to carefully screen those things and ensure that the seeds of that is maintained and being available, so that they are able to get the good quality product out of that, in order to be able to adapt or even create value chain for those kind of things. Because sometimes this the fact is that the land races which we have, they will have yield trade-off compared to our high yielding varieties. They will never be able to compete with our high yielding varieties. Hence the only incentive for producers or the farmer is the pricing. And in order to have that pricing, it needs to be robustly branded and positioned in the value chain. So it is important to find out that positioning statements, like what is that value exactly we can give to the consumers.
Okay. Having said that, what is the relevance of Bangladesh for rice seed?
Yeah, I mean, see, Bangladesh, India are very share a very similar agroecological.
I heard a lot about Bangladesh when it comes to the seed and everything, even especially in the studies, some of the breakout sessions as well. I heard about that. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's, as I said, the ecological and ecosystem of India and Bangladesh are very same. One of the key aspect of Bangladesh, we need to see that it is a highly dense country in terms of population. It's a highly dense country in terms of population. So food security is the paramount, need which they cannot be complacent, and they need to feed billions of household and smallholder household and people, and hence rice has taken a very central stage for their production, and hence the seeds and varieties, and they are very rich in terms of their biodiversity, in terms of rice seeds and etc. But apart from that, they have a very robust varietal development and breeding program. Some of the institutions, like I would really like to emphasize that Bangladesh Rice Research Institute, Bangladesh Institute of Nuclear Agriculture (BINA), and many state agriculture universities, they have really come up with many good germplasms and varieties. I mean, the kind of the range of products what they have developed, looking at that it is a relatively smaller country in terms of size and etc. The range of products which they have developed from their varietal development program is commendable, and certainly IRI has been being associated with these partners in germplasm sharing and etc. But then a lot of credit has to be given these national stakeholders who have taken this eye, put their foot down and developed some many commendable promising improved rice varieties, especially high micronutrient biofortified zinc rice and all those things.
Did you bring any of those varieties back to India, to fit it to any of our soil context?
Yes, actually, Srinig, we have an amazing policy that's called Seeds Without Border. So it catalyzed it by talking to different government and etc. And there is a lot of history which you can go and read about it. That agreement enables that, like, seed sharing can happen
Between the
between the
countries.
member countries very easily, without investing so many years in testing and release processes again. So that has enabled us actually to bring in some of the promising varieties from Bangladesh to India. And recently, last year, it was a very good feeling that we could actually import 2 hygiene varieties, and that was notified by government of India, and very promptly, given that we all connected to a joint pledge towards nutrition, and we have those varieties again notified or released through our IIRR. So now IIRR in Hyderabad will be responsible for the maintenance, proliferation, and because you import one time, and but then the major responsibility comes with the national institutions, now the host country, who has to put effort in terms of maintaining the breeder seed, early generation
Sustaining
seed,
that effort, what the
and
best
then in order to. So IIR has been very proactive, and so they have been trying to help us in this further maintaining breeder seeds and everything, and we are playing catalyzing role by connecting to different scaling agencies so that we can together.
Good to hear that. So how do you actually feel when you see your research in the field? When the actual stakeholders, the farmers, are getting benefited out of your research?
Yeah, see, my central idea has been ensuring that our research outputs are accessible to the farmers. I deny to claim success to any of our efforts until and unless it is reaching to the end users, and that is what I also said that in our acceptance speech. So in this context, I really feel happy and accomplished when I see that the seeds of change, and the seeds which we are trying to, get it to the farmers' field, are reaching to them, and that too through institutionalization, like
Those are the
mechanisms,
channels, to establish
mechanisms.
mechanism.
Because at the end of the day, it's not me or anyone else who is bringing a bag full of seed and doing an ad hoc on-site experiment or demonstration and then going back the farm and leaving the farmers on their own. What important is that how we create institutions taking those up, because those institutions are working with them forever.
Yeah.
And until and unless they take those seeds in their seed chain, multiply those, make it available to the farmers in the locality through their distribution network or say whatever. And so they could be any institution. They could be their farmer-led community institutions, they could be public institutions, they could be privates, but the mainstreaming them and with institution has been one of the most challenging but also most accomplishing journey to ensure that farmers are having access. And when they are having access, they are able to reap the benefit, and they are able to share with us what benefits they are able to get by introducing a newer variety and replacing the older variety. And that sharing and that feeling is really accomplishing for me as a scientist, because I am ensuring the access to a very basic entitled input to the farmer.
What kind of response do you receive? I mean, do you really feel that these institutions, what we have back in India, are taking the onus of securing these the value products that whatever you are researching, are they really making sure that they are stored and preserved for the next generations and all?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the challenge, what could be that the access to information or intelligence with these institutions as well. See, when we talk about a multinational seed company and etc., so they, apart from investing in their R&D, they also have robust market intelligence system, promotional arms, and investments going into there. But that is not the case of many small enterprises or even public sector organizations. So sometimes the challenge remains in the side that they do not have that access to those intelligence, like in terms of what varieties, what is being developed, what is coming up. A lot of those kind of information are not available to them in a proactive manner. So we have been trying to bridge that gap, to establish that connectivity with many prominent breeders, breeding institutions, and these the multiplying institutions and etc. And once they are familiar, and once they have the evidence and data that is presented to them from the farmer field and etc., they are very committed, or they are I think fairly equipped to ensure that that is getting
Good to know.
scaled. But yes, our delivery networks, like the distribution networks, I do feel that still not reaching to a lot of hinterlands or last mile farmers, etc.
Exactly.
And there we need partnership and collaboration with various alternative institutions, be it our government extension wings, but also our community organizations and NGOs and etc., to make it a collective effort so that aggressively or fast-paced manner we are able to distribute most of these things.
Get to the farmers. Yeah. Thank you. Dr. Nayak, the other question that I have is, especially when I attend these kind of big ceremonies, felicitating a lot of people who worked in this field, the question that lingers in my mind is, are we really making sense when we are discussing these high technical matters and all in these big seminars and breakout sessions and everything? Are we really making sense? Not to the intellectuals around us, but to the farmer, who's hardly owning an acre or a half acre. Is our research, or are we able to simplify these and put them in their language so that they can really absorb what we are telling them and really put them into the field? Or they just listen to our sessions, or they listen to all what we have worked on and simply go with their own tuitions? How are we ensuring that the half acre, 1 acre, or for that matter even a tenant farmers, how are they actually getting benefited with your research?
Yeah. So Srini, lot of onus of this responsibility, like what we learn, share, or assimilate from all these kind of discussions happening in different conferences or meetings across the globe, and how we're simplifying this to use for the farmers necessarily. It lies with the researcher or the scientist or that community specifically, to remain committed that whatever they are assimilating as knowledge is they are able to translate it into farmers' field. This is what I do. I specifically do and advocate, and I'm sure many do, many people do, and this is a kind of responsibility we as a community and fraternity need to take, and we should use these opportunities like what we have been getting. And this is let me also tell, these are like tremendous knowledge sharing platforms, and people from one country are able to hear what is happening in other part of the world. Often access to knowledge is also a limiting factor of what we are doing and or what we are not able to achieve or think beyond. So often we also end up relying or trusting on the low hanging fruits which we have, or as a human, we do not want to get out of our comfort zone to try something new. So science calls out for that behavior also. So when we get to know what is existing in the other part of the world, then only we get that inspiration to do something out of the box.
Exactly.
And so that is also a side of the science which we should not ignore, and we should give opportunity, especially also younger researchers. And and I was tremendously impressed in this event which happened, the kind of emphasis to youth has been given. The students, the young researchers who have been participating in hundreds, and that is commendable, because now they have the advantage of age, and they have an advantage of they have that a career ahead, where they can really shape and formulate something really transformational in the science space. So with this opportunity now, the onus lies with us also. We go back, try to see how we customize that in our local context, and what we can do and what we cannot do. That we need to also segregate what is feasible, make it in a more graduated manner, what is the first to do step, what is the next step possible, and etc., and translate into a feasible or deliverable model for our farmers to do the final delivery of what we want to make it for our farmers possible.
Yeah, because in the beginning I asked the question that I felt that we are so connected and we all speak same language. But do we speak the language that farmers understand when we go back to the field?
Yeah.
That's more important.
Absolutely, right? And that's what I always say. When you go to the field, keep aside your scientific jargons. Keep aside what you have learned, de-learn it, and then simplify the farmer in the language what he understands and he or she understands. Contextualize and then tell the value what he or she will get out of our solution.
I'm glad that most of the scientists are doing it. Dr. Nayak, having so much field experience, what are the challenges that you normally see, and how is your research contributing to address those challenges?
When it comes to the challenges what farmers face, I think the most glaring challenges which our farmers are facing are climate change, and that associated risk has tremendous implication on their livelihood and overall life. So hence working consistently towards building their resilience through adaptation or different or in long run some climate mitigation strategies. We need to ensure that such technology and solutions are delivered and farmers are motivated to adopt it in scale, and so any change is difficult, and hence we need to keep on persistently working and to influence the adoption behavior of the farmers, bringing in the value in whatever technology we are bringing for them to be resilient against the climate change risks. But apart from that, what I do feel is that nutrition is another aspect which we should not ignore. And
I'll ask you that question.
so that is
something.
Yeah, that is one aspect which we should not ignore also, and how our agriculture or cropping system is nutrition responsive, and we are taking a food system approach in that will remain critical to address these challenges. And the third other important factor is that raising income, and to raise that income to a significant level to get them out of poverty and give a more better life and opportunity has to be beyond the thought process which is around production and productivity. It has to take them to other value chain and enterprise opportunities which they can create in agriculture or allied sector, and what kind of support mechanism they will need in terms of access to training, skill development, but also to access to finance, access to market, yeah, and how we package it and deliver to the farmers in a more robust and comprehensive manner, encouraging them to become have their own agri business or enterprises to have a much increased income or value addition to their livelihood. That would also be a critical domain where we should invest in.
Dr. Nayak, as a working woman, you know, and you empathize that more than me, how important it is to be like healthy, right? And what kind of food we need to eat. Like especially, I see a lot of moms and youth. They're primarily relying on junk food whenever they need to live on snacks or something. They go for junk food, or maybe moms at home. They think that they just put the white rice, thinking that it cooks like in no time and it tastes good. That's all. Despite being like so educated, why do like these working women or so-called educated people still go with white rice and not go with the whole grains what all we have? Completely stay away from that. I mean that is actually causing a lot of problems, like especially with women and that is what we are seeing in our foundation that they lack that nutritional value and the food that they intake. It's a major concern because though we are helping them for their education and everything, they are not physically fit. They won't be able to pursue their aspirations, right? So, I mean, as a working woman, what do you think as a scientist? What do you think is lacking, like with these people? Like, how do we educate them to eat healthy and not go with the food that is completely away from all the basic nutrients that it comes with?
Yeah, if I understand your question correctly, see, nutrition, having this undernourishment or malnutrition has been an issue which has been in rural but also in urban areas.
Urban areas, yeah.
So that's why we have been really talking about invest in a lot of behavior change communication in terms of that how people and if you are specifically talking about women, girls who have low nutrition.
Rural context, I understand there's lack of knowledge, but coming to the urban,
No, I do feel that just really that in even in see, we need to also say that knowledge doesn't work in isolation. It has to deal with a lot of cultural complexities or the societal upbringing where how we come from. I have seen houses in India and places and etc. that suppose you are a family who eat non-vegetarians, you will find large number of thousands and millions of houses where only men eat non-vegetarian and women don't. They eat eggs, they eat poultry, but women don't. Women don't, and so there are villages where certain kind of they will eat non-vegetarian, but certain kind of meat is not eaten by women. That is not touched by them. That we don't eat those kind of things. So it has a lot of very complex ritualistic and tradition and custom embedded into it that has led to maybe lesser choices and options to choose from them, and then they they rely on their taste buds and what we like to eat, and we don't like to eat out of these options available or given to through our tradition or value system. So I do feel that this is something requires a behavior change, communication strongly, and that needs to start with not the next generation people or even the children whom we want to, but at a family level, at a community level, creating that awareness that how important it is. That awareness can be in school also, to talk about nutrition, how your plate should look like, right? So we always talk that our plate should be as colorful as
colorful, yeah.
possible. So it should have cereals, it should have nutrition, it should have proteins, it should have healthy minerals, vitamins, fruits, vegetables. So that communication needs to be done at a young age, starting from our school, but our family. Influencing also our elderly people in our family
Exactly,
is also
yeah,
very
yeah.
important.
That
That they need to encourage and inculcate that habit, and get out of any customary behavior that has been remaining with us, and that can really change, and it is very important, and for women, and it's very important, and it's critical actually, I would say, and we should not ignore that.
Yep. How do you strike a balance between the latest technology, what we are bringing to the farms, and with that of balancing with the traditional ways of cultivation? What I'm referring to is like in the earlier days, our soil used to have a lot of humus content in it. And now today, if, some of the lands that we of our farmers, if you get the testing done for humus content, and now it's not even like 0.2 or 0.5% in most of the lands, which either otherwise needs to be like at least 4 to 5%, right? And like when in the name of technology, are we like completely going away from the conventional way of farming, like making sure that the organic matter is in the soil? Because even for your seeds or whatever technology that you're bringing in with the seed, unless and until it complements with the right soil, it doesn't sprout right. So
See, through our interventions, I mean, what we have been trying to do is that we are sticking on to a lot of farmer management practices. We are trying to, not optimize any situations to create a, kind of a perceived, impression of a performance of a technology. Like even if like the seeds or high yielding varieties, what we give to farmers or introduce to farmers still. We are aware that probably if a very good better management practice that includes input applications, and other chemical usage and etc., might give a boost to overall productivity, but that may not be sustainable in terms of both like farmers' capacity or ability, but also as you are saying, like the environmental concerns, what that might be. So therefore, like we have tried in our approach to remove those additional biases or those additional inputs for the farmers, because what we try to do that, like let them do it under their farmer management practices, and even like many of them might come up with their innovative traditional practices, or any very moderate practice what they have been doing or being taught about any alternate mechanisms, like be it natural farming, be it any regenerative agriculture they're doing. We are completely fine with that, and we try to in fact encourage them to introduce a better germplasm or variety or seed with their their management practices, and we try to bring in what minimal modification in terms of that is required for them. So that is a domain research area which many scientists are working on, natural farming and regenerative agriculture, and that remains an area also to coexist apart from what modern agriculture has been doing.
how open are you like to collaborate with organizations like us who directly work with small and medium range farmers?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think in order to reach in scale or create that impact, be it any impact in livelihood, impact in terms of social equity, environment, nutrition, that requires scale.
Yeah.
Just by doing in one hamlet or pocket
No.
or few villages or farmers generating few set of evidence or publishing a publication doesn't give any value until and unless we reach to a scale, and that scale cannot be achieved by 1, 2, 3 or even 10 organizations alone. That requires collaboration and robust partnership, and therefore, I believe that we have been very open to find out more and more new
Yes,
partners
we
and
talked about-
collaborators
we
and
talked about
etc. And in whatever capacity. And I'm really impressed the way you have been working with young students, empowering them and etc. And many of these young bright minds can contribute to agriculture sector a lot. So if we can build in their, research capacity or skills and knowledge around agriculture and etc. So those are also significant change or momentum we can create together. So yes.
Sure, that's kind of partnership even we are looking at because we have some agriculture domain students who are actually looking for opportunities like this to work with organizations like yours and a lot of other organizations that have come across during this event. I'm really glad that you extended your support to MMF. Dr. Nayak, at MMF, what we actually believe is like the inside person, the Manaloni Manishi, person inside always needs to be happy. That should be the only goal of life, and that should be the only purpose of life. If you're not happy, then you're not living your life, right? So we make sure that all our farmers, our students, that they realize what they are from within and try to explore that side of them. So I would like to know what inside inside person, what the Swati inside is all about. And
See, I'm a very simple person, and it is important, what makes you happy. Remaining happy is important, but also defining what makes you happy is important. And I get happy with small things, and I think that I am a very less materialistic person in terms of in terms of my needs and requirements. Those are very basic and
minimalistic.
I like minimalistic life, and maybe due to lack of time to invest in to think about what I could have for my happiness or luxury and etc. But yeah, that I love in that way. Small moments of life give you a lot of happiness, and whatever I've worked, today it was like a great moment for me to be here and receive this award and etc. I didn't see this coming since last year, till last year I didn't see this coming, and neither particularly I worked for this in terms of I would recognize at this level. What I did is I enjoyed my work. I was very passionate about my whatever I did, I felt happy.
You thoroughly enjoyed the journey.
Yes, I felt happy being in field, working with farmers. I felt I'm completely fine that while I was away traveling, and a lot of people kept looking for me, she's not here, she's not there, and any meetings and conferences happening, and those are also great opportunities for you at a personal level. But I'm doing something very important also. I was with the farmers, the stakeholders who need me the most, and I was happy inside while doing what I was doing in field, and that keeps me, busy, happy, and content of I'm making some change over there for someone.
Happy that you're happy. The inside Swati is happy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And any message to our students, MMF students and our farmers?
Yeah. No, I'll start with that. You feel happy with what you do, and being content and passionate about what you do is very important. You need to enjoy what are the domains or the fields you are choosing for yourself. I would also suggest, let's not go by tradition. Let's not, others define your career path. It is you who will choose, what you want to become, and always try to think from your inner self that what makes what you really want to do, and then you try to explore the opportunities in that domain and etc. Not just because what your father and mother did, or your siblings, brother and your friends are doing or choosing as a career path. I will be also one among them. So don't be one among them. Be different, be unique, be yourself.
Yeah, my student must be feeling that they're seeing on the srinig view, right? Because I keep telling them the same thing. Yeah, it was nice talking to you, with Mike, and I'm sure your research would take you to places, and you would receive even more recognition, not just in India but globally, and help more farmers who are in need of that. Thank you so much.